Yeah. So today we are going to deal with paper 2 analysis. So here what we are going to do actually, we are going to look at again same as paper 1, we'll look at 2024 paper, 2023 paper and 2022. These three papers we are going to analyze. So anybody who is watching online, I would request to have the PDFs or printout of 24, 23 and 22 paper 2 question papers of anthropology. So here we'll try to analyze in which topic how, how many number of questions has been asked in each year and what is the weightage of each chapter. So we have unit 2. See, we are talking about Indian anthropology. So unit 2, unit 3. So here we can go in bit detail. This is with respect to Indian anthropology. So in each year we'll look at 2024, 23, 2022. Okay. Unless and until uh, unless and until you understand the weightage of the topics, you won't be able to analyze the subject properly. Okay. So now take your 24 paper. First, digitization of rural economy. First question. So it falls under the unit 5.3. Okay, in Indian villages, you have globalization and its impact. Sorry, under 5.11, Indian villages, right? And there is one more topic within 5.3, that is Panchayati Raj and social change, media and social change, right? So Indian villages, though it's under 5.1, but media and social change. So I feel the digitization part comes under the technology and media part. So under 5.3, you have 10 markers asked, and then origin of state societies. It's under archaeology. Then Syro-Malabar Christians, it's under third unit. Okay, so impact of Buddhism, Jainism, Islam, and Christianity of Indian society. So that's under 3.4. And next you have artisan tribes of Jharkhand. It's under tribal anthropology. Causes of stunting and wasting among tribal. This is also tribal. Next, 2A is tribal, 2B is tribal. Deconstruct the colonial history of Indian anthropology, highlighting the critical role played by Indian anthropologists in sustaining the autonomy. Okay, so in sustaining its autonomy, so it's under unit 4, but this question, unless and until you are aware, it's difficult to answer this question. So it falls under difficult category. Syro-Malabar Christians also, it falls under difficult category. Then archaeology, and compare and contrast approaches of M.N. Srinivas and L.P. Vidyarthi to social change in village India. So this is doable question and it belongs to 5.1, right? Village studies. Forest policies, tribal, and what are the ethical concerns in biological and sociocultural anthropology because of recent advances in AI and genetic research? See, if you see this paper, so this question appears to be more related to paper 1 than paper 2. So you have to understand that there is no strict separation of things. In some of the areas, you will be noticing questions being juggled from paper 1 to paper 2 and paper 2 to paper 1. Archaeology completely paper 2 is put in paper 1, and now you can notice some of the questions have been asked here. So this actually falls under physical anthropology and combination of research methods in the latest developments. So this is again a bit difficult question. So we'll keep something out of the syllabus. And next, tribal demographic challenges of India's changing population dynamics in the next 50 years. So this is unit 2, 15 marks. So next, B.K. Roy Burman's concept of buffer zone, this is tribal. ILO's convention, tribal. Agricultural practices, tribal. This is also tribal. Constitutional safeguards for backward classes. So it comes under unit 5.2. Okay, linguistic and religious minorities and their social, political, and economic status. No, other backward classes, it's under tribal only. It's under 7.1, it's not under 5th unit, so it's under tribal. Minorities comes under when minority question is asked, it's mostly related to unit 3, unit 5 and unit 3. Okay, so if you look at impact of Buddhism, Jainism, Islam, Christianity, so there you will be learning about them, and at the same time in 5.3 also linguistic and religious minorities and their social, political, and economic status. So in two places you will be studying. So one is impact of particular religion and other is minorities in specific. So under 5th unit you will be studying minorities, but other backward classes is included in unit 7. So next you have elucidate the differences between secularism, religiosity, and religious fundamentalism and spiritualism. So this is again tribal. So it's completely tribal. Unit 7 tribal. Critically examine existing paradigms of holistic health for the marginalized sections of the society, drawing inference for COVID-19 pandemic. Again, this is tribal. Origin of caste system and its criticism, difference between caste, class, and race. So this is under 3.2. Next, resurgence of ethno-nationalism. Again, ethnicity, ethno-nationalism. It's a topic of 7.3. Right? So in 7.3 you will be learning. Describe the important Paleolithic sites archaeology. Distinguish theocratic state from secular. Again, this comes under the topic of communalism, 9th unit, 9.3. Discuss economic, social, and developmental impacts on tribal communities with special reference to mining. So this is under 6.2. So and 6.2 and 6.3 you can say the impact of urbanization and industrialization on tribal populations. So under 6.3 you can put. So how many marks has been asked from Indian anthropology here? Huh? 80 plus 20, 100. Assume 80. So 300 marks have been asked from tribal anthropology. How important tribal anthropology is, people don't realize. They take it so lightly, assuming that everything is very simple they learned in GS. So you should be very, very careful with tribal anthropology, and this is where the whole game changes. Many of the students get good score in paper 1 because they deal with physical anthropology, mostly objective, and best scores when they give holistic answers. But coming to paper 2, they fumble. The main reason is that their importance or over importance on the first part of the syllabus and very less time given to tribal anthropology. So tribal anthropology, whatever that is there, it has to be understood, okay, and you have to give good enough amount of time here as well. Right? So we'll do tribal. 6.1, 6.2, 6.3, 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, 8.1, 8.2. I hope you have the syllabus copies in hand. So now look at it. Origin of state societies is archaeology. Artisan tribes of Jharkhand. It's under 6.1. So again, though it sounds out of syllabus, but when reading about tribes, you have to read Maybe Bharat. Maybe Bharat is a series on YouTube, Lok Sabha TV or Rajya Sabha TV, you will be noticing. So on that you will have a series of tribes, Maybe Bharat. The very first tribe is Apatani tribes, and you have the tribes such as Lodha tribes, you have the tribes dealing from various parts of the country. So those tribes you should go through very detailedly, and those details has to be noted down because the questions mostly are asked from the important tribes, and those are the important tribes. You notice after going home, check that playlist and you'll be noticing all the tribes have the questions related in UPS. Maybe Bharat. I don't know exactly. So maybe Bharat spelling I don't remember exactly what they have used. So yeah, so it's on Rajya Sabha TV. And next PVTGs. PVTGs come under which part of the syllabus? Nine point one. The concept of PTGs, primitive tribal groups. Okay. So again, this question. It's doable. Yeah. One, stunting and wasting of tribal children. It is 6.2. Problems of tribes, health. Again, here to answer this question, you should have sound understanding of data, or else you will be writing a generalistic answer over there. So here, artisan tribes of Jharkhand, you can write well, but this stunting and wasting among tribal children, so the data should be kept ready with respect to 6.2. All the problems of 6.2 should have sound data and updated data, which shows the critical analysis. Okay, if you want to compare what good has been done, what are the flaws and what are the limitations, what things has to be improved, what have to be improved even after the efforts that have been made. So you should have data for that. Then only you will be able to answer questions like critically analyze, or else you will be giving one-sided argument. Next, PESA Act, under which part of the syllabus? Nine point one, tribal policies and programs. Okay, history of administration in tribal areas, tribal policies, plans, programs. So again, it's under 9.1. Then Rakhi Gari, M.N. Srinivas, forest policies. Again, it's from 9.1. 3C. So history of tribal activists and freedom fighter Birsa Munda. What was the impact of his sacrifice on tribal society? See, actually, people tend to write, so he has contributed for this movement, XYZ. But when you look at anthropologists, there are some anthropologists. There is one good article by Alpa Shah. Okay, so anthropologist, she has written certain books belonging to Central India. So there, a new perspective is given. Is it Maoism or Naxalism? How is it related? So what did it lead to? So what did it influence? What kind of strategy did they follow? So they have seen it from multiple perspectives. That is what has to be written as answer, not where did he participate, what all things did he do. Those are okay. Those are necessary just to give an introduction. But from anthropology, you should try to give the perspectives of anthropology, how they are looking at that movement or the contribution made. So that contribution, is it seen as a freedom movement, or is it seen as an uprising for self-protection? So, or is it promoting today's ideology? So these all things you have to look at and you have to write from this point of view and not just mentioning the facts and details of the Birsa Munda, because that you read in history. But why to read that same thing in anthropology? Okay. I'm sorry. You have tribal uprisings, unrest among tribal communities, 7.3. Okay. So it's under 7.3. BK Roy Burman's concept of buffer zone, it is with respect to impact of industrialization, urbanization on tribal population. So with those things only he has given this concept, but this sounds new to people who didn't study about BK Roy Burman in detail. So again, this is a bit difficult question, but it falls under 6.3. Then ILO's convention, so this is under 6.1. Indigenous and tribal people, India's, whether India is signatory to it or not. So this, when you start reading about the tribals, tribe, Adivasi, indigenous people, which term should be used, what is the right term, and whether the conventions of United Nations has been approved or signed by the India or not, whether we are signatory to it or not, or what is our stand on those things. So these all things you'll be learning as part of 6.1 itself. There itself you should know it. Okay, so this is again under 6.1. Then agricultural practices of Apatani, I told you. Again, I think these two questions also, there is little difficulty in answering. You can't answer it 100% by just reading the basic books. See, which questions are we considering difficult? Those questions which cannot be answered directly by reading the basic books or basic standard books. Next, constitutional safeguards. It's told you 7.1, right? Status of sixth schedule areas. Fifth and sixth schedule doesn't fall under it. So you have a separate mentioning of it. Yeah. So into the policies, plans, and programs, a constitutional measure safeguards for tribes. Development of forest policy. What is the question asking? Status of sixth schedule areas. So, uh, constitutional safeguards. Yeah. So there you will be reading, but it's mostly related to the protection of tribes. So you can read under any section. This is very broad. So policies, programs also it will be coming. But since it's a constitutional measure, so we'll be reading under 7.1. So this is 20, like custodians of natural resources are the tribals, but they are the most deprived. Critically examine how climate change will impact their survival in future. So it's mostly related to their lifestyle. So it is in 6.1. So you'll be studying about their characteristics, socio-economic characteristics of the tribal population. So there itself you will be knowing they live in consonance with the natural laws, so which enables the sustainability of the forest environment or the environment which they are surrounded with. So this part you will be reading there. So you should know the latest examples. That is the reason. Are you following my Telegram channel? So yesterday I have posted one TODA related message. Okay, so I have posted it. So there I talked about interlinkage of archaeological findings to religion, okay, and their natural regular lifestyle. So when question is asked in archaeology, you can write that. At the same time, when question is asked in other parts of the syllabus, you can mention this. So that's how you interlink. For this also, when nature man spirit complex is discussed, so there I have given multiple examples of tribes how they use various methods to protect the environment. Okay, so there was one question in the past also, animism and deep ecology, which talks about the values towards conservation of environment. So these things you have to interlink. This is not a direct question, but it is a question which has to be interlinked and which I consider to be a bit difficult. So it's again from 6.1. Elucidate the difference between secularism, religiosity. So this falls under the unit 9.3. If somebody is not clear with the concepts, for them it is difficult. Basics, basic fundamentals. PK Baumik role in decriminalizing the status of Lodha tribe. Last year it was centenary celebrations of PK Baumik, and that's the reason question has been asked. So at Calcutta University they have celebrated the centenary celebrations of PK Baumik. So they have asked this question. So it's based on current affairs, but however, there has been a topic, decriminalized tribes. DNT, denotified tribes. So here itself under the 9.1, you will be studying about the denotified tribes as well. Yeah. Sixth question, C type. Okay. When you study primitive tribal groups, there you will be studying about the denotified tribes as well. So decriminalized tribes of the past. So today we don't use those terminologies, which is derogatory in nature. Okay. So again, I consider this to be a difficult one. Sorry, it's under 9.1, right? Next, if you look at critically examine existing paradigms of holistic health for marginalized sections of society, drawing inferences from COVID-19 pandemic. So again, it's with respect to their practices. Okay, so there has been a complete book or a journal that is published with respect to COVID-19 pandemic and its impact and its understanding in relation to practice of tribals. So there is a complete journal. So many things have been mentioned that how the practices were present beforehand among the tribals to protect from such infectious diseases. How they used to live. Okay, so these things are already mentioned. So this is under 6.2. When you read with respect to impact of health, there itself you will be reading about mostly falls under it's interlinkage of 6.1 and 6.2, but since it's a problem of health, So we are classifying it under 6.2. Okay. So you should know when you are reading the problems of tribal health. Okay. There you should know that what are the practices that are present among the tribals, which has relevance in the today's context. That's ethnomedicine. Okay, so we call it as ethnomedicine. So today, whatever the tribal medicinal practices are there, has got relevance in the current contemporary aspect as well. Theories of origin of caste system. It's ethno-nationalism. Did we do? It's under ethnicity 7.3. The topic ethnic conflicts and political developments. Again, it's related to the communalism topic. So 8B, huh? 8B. It's about secularism, right? Social change among tribes during colonial and post. Seven. Social change among the contemporary. No, no, that doesn't mean that it's related. Social change can be anything. So it's very broad. So, but you will be studying about contemporary societies of tribes, okay, and secular, liberal and democratic state. Where do you study this? This you study under the concept of communalism only. So there you will be understanding. So in communalism, you have different types. Secularism is there. So when secularism is practiced, at what levels is it being practiced? So there you will be studying these concepts, and there you should give the examples of tribals and contemporary societies related to communalism. So see, whatever you are studying under complete syllabus of 6.1 to 9.3, all comes under social change of tribal societies. If you broadly look at. So then discuss the economic, social and developmental impacts of tribal communities with respect to mining. This is again 6.3, right? Impact. 8B comes under 9.3. 8C under 6.3. And then you have archaeology. Okay. So under archaeology, you have first like all the periods, prehistoric, protohistoric, pre-Harappan, Harappan, and so on, and then anthropological evidences, and then you have ethnoarchaeology, survivals, and parallels. Right. So you can see from which area the questions fall. Origin of state societies. Origin of state societies is related to 1.1. So this is a conceptual thing, and again, so here the syllabus will not help you directly write it, but in 6th unit of paper 1, if you study properly, there you will be studying in uh, neo-evolutionism, Julian Stewart and others. While talking there, you'll be studying the hydraulic irrigation concept, hydraulic state societies, how because of change in irrigation system, the need for irrigation system has led to the creation of state societies. And when you study sixth unit 6.1, which you can talk as classical evolutionary theories, there LH Morgan talks about how the state has evolved over a period of time. Then you know Karl Marx, how he says that how the state has evolved. So if you can write these 4 or 5 theories to answer, that would be sufficient. But directly it doesn't fall under any one single thing, but because the formation of Harappan and all other, see, it's evolution only, right? So what you study in the archaeology at different periods, how the changes have happened. So I think that the concept is linked to the archaeology. Overall, they are trying to ask origin of state societies, how it has happened. You can take the help of archaeology and explain. You can take the help of theories and explain. Then Rakhigarhi and its linkages to Harappan civilization. You can see previously they have asked Rakhigarhi 10 marker in 23-22 when you saw yesterday's 2024 paper. Paper 1 analysis, you have seen Rakhigarhi as asked in 23 or 22. So now they have asked in detail, critically describe. So I told you, right, if they want to make things little bit difficult for students, they'll just add critical. Okay. Next. Paleolithic sites, describe the important Paleolithic sites from South India with suitable examples. This is straightforward and easy question. Right? This is it from archaeology. So you can see 50 marks again. Overall 100 marks from archaeology. Paper on 50 you're getting 50 from paper 1 and now 50 from paper 2. Overall archaeology is contributing to 100 marks out of 800 marks. But you can see archaeology is being put in such a position within the paper setting that it's a combination of archaeology, socio-cultural and physical there. Here it's a tribal, Indian and archaeology. So you cannot skip any portion. So this is out of 50, you have 10 marks difficult in 2024. So and whereas in tribal, if you look at 80 out of, so that's 50 means it's 250. I think even more also you can notice, because if somebody doesn't study properly, for them it goes around 150 marks. It's difficult. From the basic books, they cannot address it properly. So if you have studied at least 150 marks of 250 of tribal anthropology needs an extra effort beyond your basic work. So even if you are attending some foundation or taking some classes or reading some basic books, beyond that you need efforts. We try to cover most of the things here. So we are trying to go beyond the basic books and we are trying to address. But still, you should follow the regular current updates that are being posted. Don't take it lightly, because those are the things suddenly they'll appear in the exam and you'll realize that you should have observed it carefully and you should have practiced it. So coming to Next paper, 2023. So material culture and archaeology. So this is an interlinked question and it's a basic concept question. Again falls under 1.1. Interface between Purushartha and Ashrama. So this is under Indian anthropology 3.1. Judge money system under 3.2, right? Prehistoric rock arts from Uttarakhand. It falls under archaeology. Then religious pluralism and social solidarity. So this is a concept which is interlinked with multiple topics. Okay, so it has relevance from paper 1, paper 2 combinedly. So this is an extra thing, not under archaeology, but third unit itself. Then Gurye question under 3.2 is straightforward. So tribes are backward Hindus. Critically comment with reference to contributions of G.S. Gurye. So it's under tribal anthropology or unit 4 you can consider when you read unit 4 G.S. Gurye. So there you will be studying what are its contributions. So since it's individually asked, Indus Valley, again archaeology. Discuss the basic tenets of Jainism and its impact. 3.4, right? Jainism and its impact on Indian society. Sanskritization is a culture-bound concept. So Sanskritization under 5.1, sorry 5.3. Again, was Mesolithic culture was the first step towards sedentary way of life? Illustrate your answer by citing suitable examples. So this needs bit analysis, but again it falls under archaeology. What? 3B, yeah. 15. This is modern democratic institutions on contemporary tribal societies. It's under unit 7, right? So impact of democratic institutions 7.2. Elucidate the problems faced by PVTGs. Again, it's under unit 9.1. Risley's and Sarkar's approaches to the classification of people of India. So here it falls under unit 2, ethnic and linguistic elements in Indian population. So there itself you should study the classification. Is caste mobility recent phenomena? in the light of Indological and empirical context, analyze it. So again, it's under 3.2. Scheduled areas. So that we have seen, it's a broad thing and it falls under constitutional safeguards. 7.1. Okay, here we did not make a division, right? I think we got confused here. Here we did not make a division, right? So tribal part. Yeah. Here what did we add? Indus Valley, basic tenets of the space. See, this we have added in 2023 only. Okay, 7.1 did I add here? 7.2. Which topic is it? 7.2? Yeah. Right. Is caste mobility a recent phenomena that we should add, right? I have added. Yeah. So next, scheduled areas. 7.1. Brahmapitikas, Shivapitikas debate is 1.2 of archaeology. Village as Little Republic is 5.1. Dravidian languages and their subgroups. Again, unit 2. Linguistic elements will be. Karma and rebirth 3.1. Is annihilation of caste possible? Again, it's 3.2. Ethnic identity, ethnicity factors responsible for conflicts. So it's 7.3. Symbolic deposits show a variety of neogene fossil primates. If you understand the concept, it's an easy question. If you don't understand what is neogene fossil, then it's a difficult one. But however, considering it to be difficult under archaeology, it's 1.2. Shifting terrains of Indian tribal policies in colonial and post-colonial periods. It's a straightforward question. 9.1, right? Critically examine how the displacement of tribal communities due to hydroelectric river dam projects has affected the women in local context. Illustrate with suitable ethnographic examples. So here you need to know the content. This is of 6.2, impact of industrialization and other urbanization and rehabilitation of due to rehabilitation process due to construction of dams. Right, developmental projects 6.3 only, but I am telling you that it falls under that. So industrialization, we have seen mining. Urbanization is something that they didn't ask regularly, but they are asking with respect to developmental projects and the industrialization. 7B. 7B falls under 6.3 and elucidate the role of anthropology in nation building. Illustrate with suitable examples. So where do you study this? Broad topic, especially under unit 9.2. Then you have distribution of tribes in different geographical areas. This is again 6.1. SC Roy, unit 4. Okay. SC Roy falls under unit 4. And then you have other backward classes 7.1. And right. So what you can observe here, how many marks has been asked in archaeology? 50, 60, 75. In 2023 you have 75 archaeology. In 2024 it's 50. And out of this, how many marks are difficult? 30 out of 75. Marks out of 75 are difficult and it demands out of the syllabus knowledge. And then you look at tribal. Tribal has been bit easy last year, 2023. Mostly the questions, but there you need more innovation to get score compared to others. So you have to use your unique examples and unique perspectives to get good score. Though directly mentioned in the syllabus, but to get good score, you need more amount of value addition. In these cases only you will get less marks. When the questions are very straightforward, then you expect less marks. This year I am expecting paper 2 will get good scores. Paper 1 will get less scores compared to paper 2. Where the paper is difficult, people will get good scores. Because they will be more lenient towards marks. When the paper is easy, everybody will write. Obviously, examiner will get dissatisfied with the first answer because you are writing the same thing again and again, same examples. When you look at me explaining the same thing twice or thrice, you will feel bored. Then examiner will look at 50-60 copies, obviously. So tribal, though easy, difficult to score. Next, going back to Indian part. So here mostly questions are answerable. So in 2023, paper 1 has been bit difficult. But paper 2 has been bit easy. You can see in 23 paper 2 is easy, mostly direct, and if you have little innovation and creativity, you will get good scores. So that's what has happened in 2023. Like we have seen that very good scores. Navya has scored 142 in paper 2, highest. So she's our student only. She just practiced between prelims and mains. Paper 2 has been good. Paper 1 has also been good, only when you show more amount of innovation, because even Benzo, who got 59 rank, he got 127, 130 in paper 1. Oh, sorry, paper 2. Comparatively bit less score. He could have scored more. He would have been closer to top 10 ranks. But paper 2 is something which needs more amount of research to understand multiple perspectives, because you cannot get those multiple perspectives or understanding of a particular topic from multiple dimensions in one book. So they'll mention only one dimension, but if you have to write an answer, that should be from multiple dimensions. So again, paper 2 this year I feel it's going to be a bit easy, and paper 1 is something which should be like 23 paper 1. Last year paper 1 was mostly straightforward, right? 24. Paper 1 was straightforward. Paper 2 was dicey. Now again in 23 you can notice paper 2 is simple. Now we'll go to 22 and we'll see how the paper has been. Pit dwellers of Kashmir. So here you might need little more information. This is from archaeology, and Harappan period you can consider in 2022. So you might be having some information, but you cannot write in detail. So I'm considering it as difficult. So it's 1.1. Then Varna and Buddhism 3.2, straightforward. Sorry, 3.1. It's interlinked, not just 3.1, but it's interlinking of 3.1 and 3.4. Yeah, Pit dwellers of Kashmir, archaeology 1.1. Dharma versus religion, again it's 3.1. Safeguards of for linguistic minorities in India 5.2. Westernization and modernization 5.3. These are all direct questions. Dharma versus religion, this needs bit analysis, but can be done. Illustrate the contribution of Iravati Karve to Indian anthropology. This is 4th unit, and again people don't read much about Iravati Karve. But they should, because it's already discussed multiple times in the class by many of the faculty. Narmada man, it's 1.2, but again the question asks arguments for excluding Narmada man from Homo erectus category. So this is a phylogenetic status debate which everybody will be reading. So it's easy question only. Critically describe, yeah, 1 point. Critically describe B.R. Ambedkar's argument on the origin of Indian caste system. See, basically when you are reading about Ambedkar, Gail Ombet, she is the one who has written the movements, how the women movements are classified. Gail Ombet. Basically, she's more of sociologist kind of thing. She's like we can't classify directly under anthropology, but like in India, Andre Beatle says that it is up to the scholar what they want them to be called as, whether they want to be called as an anthropologist or sociologist. So because their domain overlaps to large extent, and mostly they follow similar kind of methodologies. So that is the reason they don't differentiate much. We can use, because in paper 2 mostly it's sociology when you talk about unit 345, 2, 3, 4, 5. And when talking about 6, 7, 8, 9, then it's about more of tribal anthropology. So here you should use that Gale Ombed. Did we write this? Ambedkar's. So it's under 3.2 only. Unit 4. No, Ambedkar we don't read that mostly because he talks about caste. But someday I expect Gandhi and Ambedkar will come for anthropological aspect. So Gandhi's anthropological understanding from Gandhian ideology or Ambedkar's ideology. So that also becomes important. So we'll be doing those things at advanced classes. Next, megalithic tradition of Northeast, again 1.1. SC Dubey 5.1. Risk list classification. Where do you study? You study under Unit 2, classifying Indian populations. Globalization 5.1, Indian villages. Impact of globalization. Proto-history of Gujarat. This is a difficult question. Proto-history will be learning here, but it's difficult, can't be addressed directly. So, examine indigenization of Christianity. This is again straightforward. So, indigenization is mostly related to how Christianity changes its features and how it is indigenized in India. So, this is under 3.4. You can read under 3.4 or you can also read under Christianity 8.1. Okay, so basically it's a combination of 3.4 and 8.1. So you can read anywhere. So I'm putting it under 3.4. Then again it's 15. Regionalism 9.3. Issues of agricultural laborers, tribal agricultural laborers. So problems of tribal communities. Unemployment, yeah. Major problems of nomadic and semi-nomadic groups. So this you'll be reading under vulnerable marginalized sections, primitive tribal groups when you study. So there itself you'll be studying the nomadic and semi-nomadic groups. So you can place it anywhere. Either 7.1 or 9.1. So we are role of governor, again it's so sorry 7.1. Austroasiatic languages, again unit 2. Sorry. ITDPs, it's 9.1, policies related to tribals. Unit 2, it's language. So ITDPs, it's under tribal policies, plans and programs. So yeah, fifth schedule is constitutional safeguards, right? It's 7.1, right? Constitutional safeguards. Next, you have ITDPs, which is under 9.1. Then PISA, Gram Sabha, it's when you read about democratic institutions. So there you'll be seeing it, or you'll be reading the PISA under tribal plans or programs. Okay, but mostly when we read democratic institutions, there itself will be see the developmental programs and welfare measures uh, and its impact on tribals and weaker sections. 7.2, modern democratic institutions. PISA is a modern democratic institution, right? And explain how British policies impacted the major resources of tribals. Again, this is under history of administration of tribal areas. So there itself you should analyze. Again, it's 9.1. Yeah, 6C under 9.1. GS Guria and Verrier Elvin, this falls under 6.1, approaches towards tribals. Okay, so what approaches did they take? What? No, no, GS Guria and Verrier Elvin on the approach towards tribal populations. 6.1, you'll be learning there. What approaches did they choose? What policy did they suggest? Isolationist or assimilationist, integration. So these are the approaches that you have, and you'll be reading them. And then you have SC ST population problems, so which is directly mentioned under 7.1, right? Then explain the social and religious consequences of contact between tribal and non-tribal populations. So it's 8.1, Christianity and Islam and other religions on tribal societies. So because of these are non-tribal populations, right? So they came in contact and that led to the religious consequences. Yeah. Next, nature of tribal movements. So tribal movements, where do you study? 7.3, right? Describe the anthropological perspective on development. Again, it's 9.2. And nation building, there was a question, right? So yeah, that can fall under tribe and nation state, okay, or it can come under role of anthropology in tribal and rural development, but that can be broadly attributed to the nation development, nation building, okay. So so these are little broad questions, you can't directly classify under one topic, okay. So nation building includes the development, tribal and rural development altogether. At the same time, tribe and nation state concept is there, right? Tribe and nation state concept is nothing but in 8.2, it, it nothing but it's how the government is dealing with tribes, okay, and the different opinions, the difference in opinions between the tribes and the government, how is it being addressed? So shifting cultivation, it's again 6.1, right? So from this, what you can understand, how has the paper of so in 2022, how has the paper been? It's mostly tilted towards which part? Tribal anthropology here again. So it was a balance mostly. It was not tilted towards either. So in archaeology, you can see 60 marks, right? Here, 180. Okay. So from here, you can understand that it demands you to cover every part of the syllabus. So that's what, just give me a second.